Round 1, done. How was it for you? Here are my takeaways from the opening round of games in the Six Nations 2024. And the first takeaway for me is this tournament's amazing. It really is. The best annual rugby tournament, bar none. But is it? And I don't think this is over-egging the pudding to suggest this is the best annual sporting competition of them all. Yeah, there might be bigger one-off events like the Super Bowl next weekend, but a condensed period of 7 weeks and 6 weeks from next year where you get all that rivalry, history, and different cultures and that melting pot just packed in together in one 6-week block. It's just amazing. I was in Cardiff, and being among the Scotland and Wales fans, it's just very, very special. So I love this competition. Takeaway number 2. Well, it's not a takeaway yet. We're waiting to find out what the ratings are, but will the ratings be boosted by the Netflix show Full Contact? Reading an article by Charles Richardson in The Telegraph who suggested that it may well do, because it was riding at number 3 in the UK in Netflix's TV shows, at number 1 in Ireland, and at number 4 in France after it was released. So, I mean, I think Full Contact could be a lot better. I think the teams need to give full access to the camera crews so we get a real fly-on-the-wall feel. But, great first step. Will it have an impact? If anyone did tune in for that first game, I'll tell you what their big takeaway would be from Friday night. Ireland are very good at rugby. There you go. It's insight like that is why you watch the channel, isn't it? You can't get punditry like that elsewhere. Ireland are good at rugby. There you go. That's what Tim said on Egg Chasers. That's what you get. If you appreciate the content on the channel, by the way, please hit subscribe. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps spread the word. And leave your comments down below. What are your takeaways from week 1 of the Six Nations Championship? Ireland are very good at rugby. And what really impressed me about this is that they've shrugged off the World Cup disappointment. And, you know, and this is it, right? So rugby and World Cup victories is all about arriving at the right place in the right time, in the right form, peaking at the right time. And I get that. But equally, there's joy to be had along the way, isn't there? And we shouldn't lose sight of just how many good moments you can give your fans and how many moments you can enjoy and how many memories you can make as a team between World Cups. I mean, for example, England finished 3rd, nearly got to a World Cup final, and I was proud of that. But the 2019 to 2023, being an England fan, was miserable. Whereas if you were an Ireland fan, you've just had an absolute blast the last few years. Seeing your team win a first ever match in New Zealand and a series victory to follow it up. Grand Slams. I mean, these are golden days that you're going to remember for a long, long time. And that shouldn't be overlooked. Whilst, yes, the Rugby World Cup is the ultimate, the journey should be fun as well. And here you go. Takeaway, another high quality punditry takeaway. Joe McCarthy's good at rugby. There you go. He is seriously good, isn't he? I mean, he's 22. The highest praise I can give him for that performance against France is he was Eben Etzebeth-esque. Ireland have themselves a tight head lock, and one that's going to be around for a long time. Now, people in the comments, and if you're watching this and you were one of the people that commented telling me over the last year, Joe McCarthy is amazing, I wasn't denying it, but I believe 100% right now what you've been talking about. What a player. So there you go, that's a big takeaway. France know he's a very good player. They wouldn't mind having him in their team, I imagine. And that's where I'll go on to next. Takeaway, France are having a bit of a hangover, aren't they, from the Rugby World Cup, in contrast to Ireland, who managed to get back on the horse, shrug off World Cup disappointment. It feels like this defeat against South Africa has had it's spilled over into this year. They haven't got over it yet. That's certainly how it felt. They were dejected then, back in, October. And I was thinking back to, I remember the disappointment in the whole country in England when England didn't get out of the pool stage in the Rugby World Cup in 2015. And to their credit, whilst that was terrible, to their credit, 2016, they went and won a Grand Slam. France, I was in France when they lost in that Rugby World Cup. The country was in mourning the day after. They were crushed. It did not compute. They were going to win the World Cup. It was theirs to win. They'd been building up for this for 12 years, and then it just got taken away. And there feels like there's been a hangover. They've changed a load of their coaching backroom staff. Some of those big players that have been huge for France in the last few years look a shadow of them former selves. Jonathan Danty, Paul Willemse, for example. Yes, they are missing Dupont and a bunch of other top players, but they should have been a lot better than they were. And the body language at the end of the Ireland game tells you a lot. Already, that Scotland game feels absolutely huge. Probably for both teams, because takeaway, Next takeaway from the opening weekend of games is Scotland are incredible and ridiculous. Both of those words perfectly describe Scotland. And you feel they could win a Grand Slam or they could finish 5th. Bizarre. Good teams, really good teams, when they've got their foot on someone's throat, they put them to the sword. Mixing up the metaphors there, but you know what I mean. They don't let them free. They keep squeezing, and Scotland just let their foot off the gas. Another takeaway from this game is I love Finn Russell as a captain. Did you see his post-match interview? How honest. So refreshingly honest. I've been in the position over the last 7-8 years of being the person that interviews players after a game, and I wish everybody was as honest as Finn Russell is. He just said a lot of our players need to look in the mirror because they just did not listen and did not think. Players don't say stuff like that, and I love it. So that's brilliant. And in that, there were 2 teams in that game, and the takeaway for Wales, there is hope. There is hope. So Scotland were incredible and ridiculous. Wales were remarkable and disastrous. I saw them describe that first half. Gatland said is the worst half of rugby of any Wales team he's been in charge of. And that almost famous comeback, 26 unanswered points, was amazing. And the fact that happened in the second half means that there is momentum for this Welsh team, and it points the way forward. Now, I don't know whether you saw in the news today, but Wales lost another legendary rugby player, Barry John, not long after JPR Williams. The guys from that era are coming towards the end of their life, or in their cases, dying. That is the type of rugby player that Wales has always produced. That is the type of rugby that is in the DNA of Wales. And in that second half against Scotland, that team connected with it. They had nowhere else to go. They had to go a bit gung-ho, throw caution to the wind, and they look great when they do it. Welsh players have got great skill sets, really good fitness, and they've got guys like that in their bones. So they played in the second half how Barry John would have wanted them to have played. So here's hoping that they carry on in that way. And I think that's an interesting point and a big takeaway for this tournament as well. Fans are much more willing to watch a team lose if they play with a bit of ambition, and they're willing to try something with youngsters. And that is the takeaway when you move over to England. These are all debutants for England in the game against Italy. And I'm enthusiastic. I think I was a little bit unfairly down on England after the game against Italy. Excuse me. But England's rugby game will always be based on solid foundations, kicking points when it's on, and that's ultimately what won England the game. That is in their DNA, in the same way as, Barry John's the kind of Welsh player. That English forwards doing that job and the 10 kicking sticks, that is in England's DNA, and we should lean into it. I'd say maybe front 5 England have got a bit of work to do, but without Marcus Smith, without Ollie Lawrence, England did well. And actually, I probably didn't give them enough credit for the ambition that they showed. I've watched the game again, and I like the intent in that England team. They were having a crack, and that's one of the big takeaways. This England team have moved on from the Rugby World Cup. It wasn't as convincing a win as you would like, but it was really good. And with Ethan Roots and even Chandler Cunningham South, the two of them do look like test match animals. I was saying Chandler Cunningham South doesn't even start for his club team, Harlequins, but he has got stuff that you can't coach, and that's just being a big, big unit. He just looked comfortable at this level, and that is really promising. And I'm delighted that Finn Smith got capped. Fraser Dingwall didn't have a great day, but I hope he gets another chance. Emmanuel Faye-Waboso, he will have opportunities in the future. And with guys like Tommy Freeman, it showed that, and this is a big takeaway, when you pick players in form, they'll have a higher chance of doing well out there on the park. I know it's a novel, mind-blowing thought, but Steve Borthwick appears to have clocked onto it, so I'm delighted about that. And also the other reason why I think I was unfairly harsh on England is because Italy are good. Oh, that's Jamie George and his team. Italy are good. That's my takeaway. They've got their guts back. Now, they lost the game, and they'll be disappointed about that. They'll feel like it was one that they let go. They were ahead, 10-0 at one point. and they lost the game by 1 point, scoring more tries than England. But they got their guts back. The World Cup was absolutely abject for them, and there was some pride put back in that jersey that the fans can get on board with, and that's really important for the Six Nations, massively important for Italy, for world rugby in general. So, yeah, Italy should feel pleased with that. Will they be able to take a step on and win a game or two? That remains to be seen. Probably not this coming weekend or next weekend, because they're travelling to Dublin to play Ireland. So I'd suggest not. But yeah, fair play Italy. And in Gonzalo Quesada, I think they've got a coach that understands the culture. I mentioned in the preview video that Argentina, where Quesada is from, and Italy have got a long heritage and history together, and it just feels like the melting pot's there. And sometimes it's just the top 2 inches, and the Italian players have got it back. And that's good news. That's really good news. When you look at the fixtures for next weekend, this is, again, another takeaway. The big games are the first games in the opening 2 rounds of matches. We had France against Ireland in Marseille, and now in Edinburgh, we've got Scotland against France. This one feels massive. Scotland are kind of, were they the first half team against Wales, or are they going to be the second half team against Wales when they take on France? Can they put an 80-minute performance together? And France, where are they really at? We're going to learn a lot. And Scotland could be on. If Scotland beat France, they've got England at home as well. They could be on for a Grand Slam showdown in the final match against Ireland. France would be staring down the barrel if they lose in Edinburgh. So that is a massive game. Cannot wait. That's the first one next weekend. Then it'll be England v Wales, then Ireland v Italy. I love this competition. Any other takeaways from the opening round of games down below? I'll be bringing you very soon in the channel my players of the week, the team of the week. So if you've got any suggestions for that as well, down below in the comments. And I will see you on the next one. Happy Sixmas. Didn't disappoint, did it?